They spent millions of dollars trying to figure out ways to enslave you because this is all manufactured. Podcast, viral clips on both extremes, pushing the exact same emotional buttons so we accuse each other instead of the regime in Tehran that is funding the terror, funding the dreams of chaos.
Check out this frightening video with Beck exposing the unsettling reality of what's happening. We'll watch it together, then talk about it. But first, hit subscribe in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch.
So what's coming here? Tomorrow, the next day, Navy warships are going to be stopping ships that try to pay the illegal toll for Iran, if that happens. Oil tankers are rerouting. They're slowing down. As I showed you in hour one, they are actually rerouting to the United States. Prices at the gas pump are going to go up. They're already jumping. I mean, expect another 50 cents or maybe even $1 in the next week or so if it drags on. Groceries, diesel trucks, all of that is going to go up. It's not good. It's not good. Heating oil, God bless you if you're in the Northeast. How are you affording this? Your 401k, it's going to take a little bump in the road probably. You know, this isn't somewhere else. This is your grocery run, your commute, your kids' soccer fees. And Iran knows that. Iran knows that. That's the bet they're making. I said earlier in the show, what do they have that they think they can beat the United States? Because we're wiping them out. We're cleaning their clock on the field of battle. What do they have? It's not missiles. It's what they see when they look at us through social media. Iran sees a divided America, an exhausted America, 20 years of forever wars. They see an America that's ready to turn on itself the second price of gas goes up. They see social media turning every clip into a weapon, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I told you this 2 weeks ago. Recent research from a private intelligence firm tracking this exact conflict shows that 60% of the most viral posts on X about Iran in the first weeks of the fighting came from accounts based outside of the U.S. Foreign accounts generated 155 million views compared to 93 million from real American viewers. That's not organic outrage. Okay, that's Iran, that's Russia, that's China, flooding the zone with deep fakes, doctored images of sunken ships, scripted narratives designed to make us fight one another. The State Department just sent a cable to every embassy, push back against this coordinated propaganda from Tehran, Moscow, and Beijing. Okay, this isn't a theory. This is actually happening right now. And they don't care if you love Trump or hate Trump. You love the blockade or you question the blockade. They just need everybody at each other's throats. That's it. They need everybody screaming that the other side is a traitor, that one side is weak and the other is anti-American. Whatever it is, they don't care. They don't care. Anti-war voices calling pro-Israel voices neocon warmongers. MAGA influencers turning on each other. That's why I don't talk about that war. I'll talk about it in principles, but I'm not going to get involved calling out names and telling you who you should hate, because you shouldn't hate any of them, because this is all manufactured. Podcast, viral clips on both extremes, pushing the exact same emotional buttons so we accuse each other instead of the regime in Tehran that is funding the terror, funding the dreams of chaos. We used to call this the fog of war. But in the social media age, this is much more powerful than fog, and I believe more powerful than any nuclear weapon. I've been warning about this dynamic for years. The 12er ideology lets them endure pain as a holy destiny. But their real strategy is a lot simpler. Just wait. Just lob a few accusations out there. Make it look like it's coming from each other here in America. And just wait. It's a time bomb. They watched our weariness in Iraq, our divisions after Afghanistan. They think time and higher gas prices are going to do what their Navy could never do. Sound familiar? Should. It should. This is what happened with the Barbary Pirates. Barbary pirates, North African Muslim states, backed by the Ottoman Empire, seizing American ships, enslaving our sailors, demanding tribute. Jefferson said, I'm not paying anymore, because 20% of our budget was going to the Muslim pirates. So we built a Navy and the Marines. We sent them over there. And there was propaganda, too. Some people wanted to keep paying. Others screamed it would drag us into an endless war. I mean, all of this has happened before. We've been here before, gang. And foreign agents and domestic voices tried to divide us then, but we held the line. We chose strength with principle. We won without becoming an empire, and the republic survived. That's the history peg we need right now. But we have to be aware. We have to look at social media differently. We have to be able to spot things and understand who's winning in this. Like I said, they don't care if you're pro or against. They need both sides screaming at each other, okay? So I pulled a bunch of stuff from X over the weekend. And in the last 48 hours, since the blockade was announced and the talks in Islamabad fell apart, what was there? What were the tweets? What were the most popular tweets? Okay. I found tweets that matched exactly the pattern flagged in the recent reports. Okay. That the IRGC operatives, the state affiliated accounts, posing as Americans or neutral observers while pushing content that is doing nothing but exploiting our divisions. Let me give you a few examples of these, okay? These are 12 hours, tens of thousands of likes, okay? The first one is from the, I can't remember, one of the state officials, I think the prime minister or the foreign minister of Iran. As soon as those things fell apart and he gets home to Iran, what does he tweet? He tweets a picture of the price of gasoline around Washington, D.C. Now, why would he care about the price of gasoline in Washington, D.C.? Why would he tweet that? Do you think his people care? That was directed to you. That was to you, okay? This is a gun. And we don't let our kids have guns, right? We keep it in a safe, keep it locked up, keep guns out of the hands of children. Why? Because they think it's a toy. They don't understand it is a lethal weapon. So they can kill others or themselves because they think it's a toy. Well, what do you think social media is? It is a weapon. It's a weapon. And yet we let our kids play with it. They think it's a toy. It's not there to teach you. It's not there to make your life easier or you to understand the world or make you stronger. Social media exists to enrich the companies that provide social media. Now, they can say they're going to help you and all kinds of stuff, whatever, but I guarantee you their main goal is to enrich themselves. And they do everything they can. This is all proven. This is not how we don't think of this. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's proven. Some of it in court, some of it in front of Congress. They spent millions of dollars trying to figure out ways to enslave you, to get you to never get off of their social media platform. Meanwhile, what are they doing? They're collecting information about you so they can get better at shaping you, because that's what it's about. Social media doesn't make things easier. Huge global power shapes you, your opinion, and the world we all live in.
So why is Iran doing this? Why does Iran want to have maximum disruption in the world? We're stuck in this modern day piracy where they're holding the world hostage and the price of gas goes up and the price of everything goes up. And at a certain point, they're going to turn around and blame Israel. They're doing it already. And saying that until Israel is destroyed, until the whole world is suffering at their pockets, then the world will say, let's just obliterate Israel. And why do they want to obliterate Israel? This is about a piece of property, a property which is written in the book of Deuteronomy that God will return his people to. So let me simplify this for you. Iran's war is for the Temple Mount. In fact, the Jews building a temple on the Temple Mount is what Iran wants to stop. Because when we reach that final stage of redemption, now that 50% of the Jews have returned and are in the land, then the Messiah comes. And when that happens, that's the end of this evil regime and form of religion. And when I say evil, it must be understood that this isn't a gripe for land. This isn't a fight for money. Money and sanctions is Iran's tool to be able to control the West and the entire world on their fixation with this Temple Mount. This Shabbat, this weekend, this Saturday, will mark the first day of Iyar, the second month. This is the month that in prophets it says that both the first temple on the first day and on the first day of Iyar was the second temple began construction. It's a very opportune time for the Jewish people for redemption. We're still in the month of Nisan. Iran knows this, and the more Israel is successful, and the more Israel grows, and the more Jews return, this reality becomes a harder problem. Now, why do the Jews want to return? Well, the answer is very simple. You see, the Jewish people, Mi ka'amcha Yisrael goya chad ba'aretz, who is like the Jewish people who are one nation in one land? You see, the history of the Jewish people, like it says in Isaiah 43, Atem Edai, the Jewish people themselves, our very history, despite all the Irans and all the other enemies that we've had with anti-Semitism against the Jews, have all fallen. Now, the war is for a land. The war is, let's stop the Jews from fulfilling the prophecy that God said. And this war is on the very shape and the very fabric of the universe. Because if social media controls people's minds, the Torah and the ways of God and the compassion of God needs to be shown in the world. We will enter into an age where God will be viewed upon as a compassionate God, a loving God, a God who loves all his creatures. And for that reason, for the Jewish Torah-based law that will be in the world. And when I say that, I want to be very clear that the Jews, unlike the Shiite Muslims who believe that we have to have Sharia law in the world, Jews don't believe that. Yes, we will all follow the 7 Noahide laws that God gave us. And that's for all humanity. And these laws are the laws of human decency, not to torture animals, not to be promiscuous, not to steal, not to murder, and to believe in God. This final thing of establishing courts by the Jewish law says that the rest of the world can make any type of court they want, as long as it's just, as long as it's fair. God has no problems with different forms of law. And this very idea that the entire world has to follow one pattern is something that's uniquely for the Sharia Islamic people, who want the entire world to be shooken up and have this end-time prophecy where anybody who doesn't follow their law dies. I want to say a prayer. I want to say a prayer for all the people in Iran who are suffering tremendously under this regime. I want to say a prayer for the U.S. servicemen who are fighting for humanity, and of course for the Israeli Defense Force, who are time and again sanctifying God's name through eliminating those who want to go up against Jerusalem. May we witness the ingathering of the exile and the rebuilding of the temple, where all knees will bow to God and have their own court systems and live their own lives, and the world will have peace. Shalom from just outside Jerusalem.